everybody, and welcome to the Fandom Flux Podcast, episode 146. I can double check in the... Yep, 146, I think. So, I'm Casey. What's up? With me we have Zero.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing?
Guy.
Oh.
Patient.
Present and accounted for.
And Kenchwa.
Hi, I'm Kenshi618 and something witty. I don't know.
Wow, you're just not even trying this week, are you?
Yeah, I'm phoning it in.
And that's a shame, because this is actually technically a special episode. Because, well, arguably. See, the thing is, I suppose technically last week should have been the 3-year anniversary episode, because the 9th was the Friday, and we recorded on the Thursday and released on the Saturday. So I suppose technically...
I mean, do you actually remember the first episode's date was?
September 9th.
Oh, okay. Well, look at you. Big brain on Casey.
It's 9/9. It's very easy to remember. It's also the date that some album from the Beatles was released, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Yeah, I don't either, but, you know, other coincidental thing that happened on 9/9. Thank God we didn't do it 2 days later. Anyway. So, yeah, we're calling this one the anniversary episode since this is the first one that we've recorded after that date. It's my logic and I'm sticking to it. So, happy 3-year anniversary, everybody. Yay!
Yay! It's all around.
Yay.
Cheers to the anniversary, and here's hoping that the next 3 years are no less fruitful.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you, patient.
with shit tons of money. Trying to sell out here.
Yeah.
I just made a video saying we do it for you guys.
Fuck that!
Basically, yeah.
I want money.
I mean, one of the things that Zero actually brought up was advertising, and I feel like, yeah, I should mention how that works and why we don't do it. We could have, and I'm not going to lie, it would have actually brought in a decent sum of money at this point. I think it's like for every 50,000 views, it's $100, and we're at like...
We have a total of 78,000 views or something.
Something like that. And since we do long-form videos, it actually works slightly different. They changed it a few years ago so that it's not just straight-up views. It's, you know, obviously how many advertisements are shown, how many people click on them. And for long-form videos, they tend to put in more advertisements.
It's not worth the annoyance for the money that we would have made.
It's not worth annoying the audience. It's not worth annoying me for having to deal with all the faff involved in sorting out advertisements. And quite frankly, I'd rather us be supported by the audience than by faceless corporations.
Yeah,
So
I'm down with that.
Unless those faceless corporations are willing to pay out the butthole. In which case, you'd be totally fine with that, because I'd be totally fine with that. Because I said so.
yeah, I'm still not even considering it. I mean,
Damn it.
Like, if they were going to offer us, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars, we might have to consider.
Nobody would ever offer us hundreds of thousands.
I
Shut
know.
your dirty mouth, guy.
Because if they did that, then we could just do podcast stuff for, like, our careers.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's not what my career would
I'd
be. It
love
would-
to do that, to be honest. But, you know, that would be fantastic, but it's probably
And then
not on
Kenshi
cards.
could just do podcast stuff and his job and get more money.
No, I wouldn't do my job. I would do other things that I like to do for money, hopefully.
You would probably do a lot more writing.
A lot more
Wouldn't be
fighting.
surprised. A lot more of that
Damn
too.
right. Absolutely.
So it was always going to be a case of advertising or Patreon. It was never going to be both. So I
And
think
quite frankly, go ahead.
I think we made the right call in that, in which one to go with. So, yay. Thanks to everybody that donates on Patreon and has kept us... I mean, we would have done this anyway. That's kind of the point. It's something to let us do more stuff. I mean...
It helps when my editing software is like $20 a month.
Yeah, and I did have to pay for editing software. I bought an editing software for the sake of making videos, and it didn't work. But, you know, it was worth a shot. and some of the games that we've purchased over the years for Let's Plays and things like that have been paid for through Patreon. So a lot of the cool stuff that we've managed to do over the years is because people have supported the podcast and the channel in general. So I want to say a real thank you to everybody that donates to us and supports the stupid shit we do every week. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Because I already said like 20 times. I repeated myself a lot.
Yeah, it's worth saying. So yeah, it's the 3-year anniversary. It is also we got 500 subscribers recently. The honor of the 500th one was Patient One, because he's a douche nozzle like that. He waited until it was $4.99. He waited till it was $4.99 and then subscribed. Yeah.
We had 505 for a little bit, and then somebody was like, "Nah, screw this," and we down to 504.
Yeah, that happened. It was a little jarring seeing it say 505 in the video, and then I looked down to the subscriber number as 504. I'm like, oh.
I still haven't subscribed.
Hey, quick, bring us back up. Bring us back up.
You're only saying that because you managed to drive someone away with your video, so...
No, it went down to 504 before I made the video.
Oh yeah, likely story, yeah.
That's why I left in the description somebody unsubscribed while I was making this video.
Yeah, it's impossible to edit those after you post the video.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, that was great. So we're gonna get on with the actual podcast that we're supposed to be doing. We are gonna do a video podcast. It's probably gonna be next week, not this week, because we only realized a bit late all these things that were happening. It's like, yay, but oh shit, we didn't have anything prepared. So what we're doing, Gaishwa.
Right. I went. I was away over the weekend. I went down to Wales, Swansea.
Oh, I like Swansea.
Why? Nobody likes Wales. It's full of Welsh people.
Fuck you. Fuck you. You wonder why you go first every week, you fucking knobhead.
No, I've never wondered that one. Don't worry. What else happened? Yeah, that was actually a question that I wanted to ask. I think I mentioned a couple of weeks ago that there's a new intern at work. Mm-hmm. And wondered, how are you meant to treat interns?
Like employees that don't get paid. Basically.
Right. How is that? Like, exactly.
Ideally, you
give
want
them things to do.
Ideally, you don't want to just make them do like nothing or just do menial labor, because the point is they're there to learn.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Like, it just there was a bit of a discussion at work. If I've got a load of tasks which I need to do, and the intern has got stuff that he needs my help to do, which one am I meant to do?
Your work. You're supposed to be teaching him. It's like any new person on the job with an intern.
You train while you do your job.
Yeah, but eventually it's like I'm doing two people's job here. I'm trying to do my own stuff and stuff which I'm not getting any credit for, which he's going to be doing. So am I allowed to just say, get on with it, try and sort it out yourself?
Yes.
Right.
The idea is you still have to do all your work, so do your work, let him try and do the stuff he's supposed to be doing, and when you have a spare moment, go and help him and see if he's doing what he's supposed to be doing and he's getting it right.
And completely hypothetically, but what if I saw that he was doing something that could quite possibly burn the building down?
Then you stop him immediately, naturally. Or you let him burn the building down if you really, really, really hate your job.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. That's a hard decision to make. Although at one point, burning down the building is going to cause a lot of effort, but I've got a lot of work to do. I'm busy.
Well, like, once he has the basics down, you really just have to kind of leave it to him and then tell him if he has any questions to come to you.
Yeah, he's not very good at health and safety, which is saying something because I'm not very good at health and safety. But last time we were plugging in this motor and he was just going straight into the socket, crimping these wires, absolutely no protection right onto mains, and leaving the external conductors right out there.
Oh.
Yeah. And then with a running motor, which he hadn't actually clamped down, so this was a lot of torque in this motor. If it had came off the shaft, it would have probably taken somebody's head off.
Whose idea was this?
Why
intern doing your dangerous ass job?
Immediately.
Well, no, but we do that sort of stuff all the time. That's the job. And,
Whose idea was this to have an intern do your dangerous ass job?
well, I don't know. He's a Netherlands guy. His father works for the company. And, yeah, I think he's probably going to kill himself, and I'm probably going to get the blame. Which makes me a bit cautious.
Wait, so his dad is in the company?
Yes.
Nepotism. Yay. Always good.
Oh.
No, it's not really. It's his dad's the sales guy, and he's at university. He's a perfect qualified.
Send his ass to sales.
But he wants to be an engineer. That's not how it works.
Yeah, it's got to be today. You weren't
Tell
killing me.
him he's a special sales engineer.
Tell him he's got to learn all aspects of the job before he takes on your job.
But I have a lot to do. I mean, isn't it just easier to let him get on with it?
I mean, yeah, it would be, but you're fearful he's going to kill everyone in the building, so you got to make a decision.
Well, which do you care more about? Not having everybody die in the building and not getting blamed, or having people die and getting blamed?
Yes, all of them.
Well, I don't know how to help you, guy. You won't make a decision. This is like one of those moments, like the good games have that give you decisions. Like there's a bad decision in each decision you make. You just have to figure out which one's the least bad to you.
I hate those decisions. Alright. So anyways, yeah, that's been my week. I went to Swansea. I've tried to stop my intern from killing himself. I've done pretty much that. And yeah, I'm thinking of creating a betting pool on how long the intern's going to last.
Okay.
Can I get some of that?
I say if he survives a week, he should be fine.
Well, probably.
Well, the important information here is how long is he there for?
He's actually there until after Christmas.
Oh, that is fun. All right, I want a piece of that.
Okay, can we move away from betting on people's possible death? Because I've been there before, and we both lost.
It's not betting on his death. It's not like, I mean, if that happens, that counts. But it's more like betting on. It's more like
it's fine too.
It's more like betting on if he gets fired or something.
But if he does, it counts.
Okay. All right, Kenshi, you go next.
All right. So last week, seeing as how you all heard from me on Friday, and I was off last week, the only thing that happened between then and now is I wrestled a freaking lot. Like, since I was off, I could actually do shows for once on the weekend, which was fantastic.
Did you film them?
I didn't. Someone might have, and I will see if they did.
Cool.
Like, the promoters put me in weird matches. Like, I had one-on-one match, and that was like the last day. Other than that, they put me in like 3-way dance, 4-way dance, battle royal, weird shit. So, yeah. But it was a fun time, and I can kind of understand what Guy says when he's like, he's more concerned with watching this guy and making sure he doesn't destroy the building. Because wrestling...
Somebody gets me.
Yeah, because wrestling is kind of like that. You see, when you're in there with someone that's not experienced, it's your job to make sure that they don't, kill themselves and or you. Because that's entirely possible. So, yeah. So in this triple threat match, it was like me and one other dude that had experience versus this one dude who didn't really. And we were just like, we had to like guide him pretty much from sequence to sequence because he was not really great at positioning. Like after he did his thing, he had to kind of, get the fuck out of the way so we had space to do our thing. And in things that involved all three people, he had to be in position, and we had to do it in a way that didn't make it seem obvious we were trying to get him in position for something. I mean, it worked, but if I get footage of that match, I'm probably not going to use it for anything.
Oh, I might.
What do you mean you might?
Yeah, you're right. There's no might in there. It's going to happen. Give me the footage.
Well, wrestling is just like dancing, isn't it? Honestly, it's all synchronized movements.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, a lot of it's improv. A lot of it's improv. Like, you can tell someone, "Hey, do this, this, and this." If they are trained decently enough, they'll know. Okay, I need to do this to make that happen, and it's just working together. Very few times when you're with someone that actually knows what they're doing, you have to like step by step give them everything they need to get like something done. Like if I want to suplex somebody, I'll say, "Hey, dude, suplex." And he's like, "Okay," and he knows exactly what to do to protect himself and make it work.
Cool.
So, yeah. Let's see. What else have I done other than that? Oh yeah. In the four-way dance. This girl kicked the shit out of me, like in the head.
Like intentionally or part of the show?
No, she wasn't trying to, but she did. And the worst part about it is I knew it was coming. I knew it was gonna fucking be like legit, like, okay, this is gonna fucking hurt. Because what had happened was, I told her I was climbing on the top rope. Go ahead and cut me off when I get up there. So I climbed up there, waited for her to like do something like hit me so I could fall and crotch myself on the top turnbuckle. Yeah, that was fun. And when I did that, I was like, she's going to hit me with something to make it set up for something else. I bet she's going to kick me. And damned if she didn't. She like grabbed onto the rope and like to push herself up, and she jumped and kicked me in the head. And I was like, she's going to kick me. I should block this. I did not move my hand at all to try and protect my head, so she like got all of the side of my head. And I was selling it like it's actually hurt. There was no faking that involved. Like I was actually kind of out of it for a second. So, yeah. Wrestling's not exactly totally fake, guys. Shit hurts.
Sometimes it goes bad. There are examples of that happening in pro wrestling.
Yeah. And to those of you who think that rings are like trampolines, if you want an example of what's like fall in a ring, basically, if you're in high school, go into your school auditorium, go up on the stage, and fall on your back real quick. And that's what that's like.
So it basically feels like just wood.
It's a fucking stage. It's like metal rigging with like wooden boards comprising the floor and a fucking mat over it so you don't get splinters and tear your fucking back up.
So it's basically just wood.
Yeah.
In terms of impact.
It's wood supported by metal framing.
So it's wood that's sturdy enough not to break. So
Yes.
you will get all of that impact.
Yep. And God forbid you ever have to take anything on the apron, because that's where all the metal is.
Sorry, the apron?
It's the curtain over the bottom of the ring.
Yeah.
So that you can't see the rigging underneath. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So,
Why do I know that?
Because you've been hanging out with me too much.
Probably. Like, I know literally nothing about wrestling. It's whatever.
So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm done boring you guys with wrestling stuff now.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, I did too.
It wasn't really. It's all just wrestling. Should you think?
Well, I'm sorry we can't all have interns that nearly decapitate themselves and others around them, Guy. I'm sorry.
You could at least try. Have you ever tried taking on an intern?
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually I love every intern I've ever had. They're awesome.
I've trained people before at my work, but not interns.
I mean, every intern? Really?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, the thing is, for Kenshi, his interns are probably trained up to a certain standard, and getting things wrong isn't as drastic a scenario as it is for engineering. They did the scripting wrong for the script or something.
Yeah, because if you're an intern for us, you were in school doing this shit already. So all you need is just you need tweaking on the fine points that we actually do for stuff, which is not a big deal.
All right, can you hear me? Because the connection's reading low. Yeah?
Yeah.
We're good?
Can
Okay.
hear you.
So I'm going to do my week because I tend to go last or second to last, so I'm going to go a bit earlier this time. So remember how I was having a shitty week last week?
Yes.
Yeah. Thursday, when we recorded on Thursday, and... No, we recorded on Friday, didn't we? Yeah. It was the day before, and I'd lost my wallet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So got all of that sorted. I'm still waiting on my replacement wallet, so that sucks, but, it's fine. It's only going to be a week or so. Sunday, though, I woke up and saw my phone had a message, and I'm like slapping at the end table where it's resting on charge, and I swish, completely slide the damn thing off of the end table, straight onto the floor, and yeah, it broke.
Damn.
Yup, fully 100% broke.
Like, more than just the screen being cracked?
Yeah, none of the buttons would do anything. It would still say, it'd have the blue flash of, you have a message, but you could press the buttons and the screen wouldn't come on. Nothing would happen at all. Take the case off, take out the battery, replace the battery, and it just does a boot loop over and over and over again. So it was pretty catastrophically fucked.
So what did you say there?
My phone's broken.
Well, yeah, but when you tried to replace the battery, what happened?
It just went on a boot loop. It just starts up and then stops starting up, and then it starts up again, and then it stops, and then it starts up again.
It sounds like it might have a dodgy connection on the battery. Have you opened it up to have a look, or what?
I don't know anything about phones, and it's not insured or anything. Well, I've had it for like 3 years. So,
Okay.
I think
Yeah.
that the important thing that we need to know about the situation is, did you ever find out what that message was for?
it was from my mum. I asked whether it was alright if I came around that day. Turned out it was, But at that point, I needed to go around anyway so I could get her contact information again. Because, that was on the phone, and when I replaced my phone, I needed to get all that again. So that was great. But I have a new phone now, so it's all fixed, and that's great and stuff. That's all fine.
And you got to see Mom. That's a plus.
Yeah, it's always good seeing family. Flash forward to Tuesday, recording Dark Souls. We basically recorded nothing. Like, almost none of it was useful. We got like 1 episode done, so that's, considering we usually get 4, that's basically nothing, so that kind of sucked. Then today, ordered groceries online, as I tend to do, because I can't drive, so getting them is kind of a pain in the arse. They offer a service where you pay for them to be put into bags. It costs about 50 pence, so it's not amazingly expensive, but I get that anyway because I have to carry all of them upstairs, which is a pain. Anyway, so they come, and half of the stuff isn't in bags. I'm like, oh, that's annoying. Why do I even bother paying for it? Whatever. So try and Tetris all of the stuff up the stairs in my arms. Just try and slot it into my arms so I can carry as much as possible so I don't have to run up and down the stairs like 50 times.
Oh, no.
And naturally, one of the items decides to pop out of my arm. It's a carton of milk. And it explodes like it's been shot. Like someone put a bullet through it. So there's this giant gaping hole in the front of it. Spills all down my stairs. So
so much for the old saying, "Don't cry over spilled milk."
Yeah, that basically turned my entire afternoon into mopping up the stairs to my front door.
Patient, you're an awful person.
Yeah, sometimes he is. Yeah. So.
Are you one to talk?
No, I'm not, but I'm surprised.
We have no platforms to stand on.
Precise.
No. Ground floor for everybody. Basement for some of us.
In seriousness, though, Casey, I am sorry for that difficulty. Were there any lasting effects?
I have no idea. I probably won't find out until my hallway smells like spoiled milk. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, and there was some of my mail that just gets left on the stairs because I haven't looked at it yet, and some of that's just gone because, soaked. Yeah, so that's not a big loss, but it's annoying. Yeah, so that kind of not great. I'd say it was karma, but I'd actually done a good deed the previous day, helping my neighbor downstairs fix his computer because it was broken and wasn't updating properly. And yeah.
Maybe it's just old bad karma coming up to,
Maybe.
being like, hey, before you get any good karma, you gotta... Well, on the other hand, we have 500 subscribers now. So...
Yeah. So I immediately had to call in that favor and borrow a mop and bucket. That was great. And, also, I am increasingly concerned about my health at this point. Like, for the past few years, I've had this problem where my hands will shake. It started out, like, very, very minor. Like, they'll just tremble a little bit every now and again, but there's no real effects. But it's gotten to the point where when I was working at Wardle's, when I'd first started, they were very worried about it. They thought I was really fucking nervous all the time because my hands would just constantly shake. It's gotten to the point where I am basically constantly trembling in my chair right now.
What the heck? Dude. Oh.
So I need to schedule a doctor's appointment, I think.
That would be for the best.
Like, there are some things that I'm very worried about it being, but that happens with whatever symptoms you have. There's always a couple of things that it's probably not, but you worry a lot about. There's probably 100 different possibilities for what it might be that are not serious at all. But it's always those couple of things that you really, really worry about.
No, he's not looking at that.
No, that's a bad idea. You don't look at online diagnostics because they will be wrong and they will give you a false idea of what it might be. So when you go to the doctor and you say, oh, I might have this because of this, that's not how you're supposed to diagnose things. They take the symptoms that you have and then run through what it might be. You don't tell them what it might be because you don't know. The internet doesn't know. They're the ones that are supposed to figure it out. So
what I just pulled up was literally shaking hands.
It's literally like a bunch of possibilities of what it could be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you stressed? That seems like
No.
obvious.
I have nothing to be particularly stressed about. I mean, my benefits are taken care of, so I have enough money coming in.
It's just stuff like low blood sugar,
Could be.
Caffeine overdose.
Could be.
Side effects of any medication.
Don't take any.
Or several diseases. Maybe an overactive thyroid. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of things it could be. A lot of them are going to be very simple and easily treatable. Or just, a slight change in diet. But, you always worry, especially since it's been going on for a few years, and it's been getting worse, that it might be something a bit more serious. So, so that's not great. Oh, also that job interview I went for on Thursday, I didn't get it. Found that out a couple of hours ago. So, it's been a fantastic week this week. I feel great.
I mean, I feel like just sunshines and puppies. Only the puppies are dead, and the sunshine is like there's no ozone, so it's just all radioactivity blasting me in the face.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, that's basically what I feel like when I go outside anyway. So.
Patient, please have something awesome and happy
Patient,
to say.
you go, please.
Yeah, this is meant to be the cheerful anniversary episode, isn't it?
Yeah.
The cheerful anniversary episode. Guy's going to watch somebody die, in case he's probably going to die.
Thanks for that.
What a confidence there. Well done.
Patient?
Sorry, I was just waiting till I was sure you guys were done talking.
Yeah.
Nothing... There's really nothing all of that noteworthy that's happened to me this week. Just... another few days at college, another few days of classes, another few days of relaxation, and riding with the crossbrain, of course. We've now reached 12th place in the fandom. And
yeah, surpass them all.
We'll probably have reached 11th place by the next podcast, probably, but not sure just how long it'll take to get to the top 10. I mean, the number of favorites between us and the 11th place are less than 20 at this point, whereas the number of favorites between 11th and 10th place are over 200.
Yeah.
Bit of a bigger gap there, yeah.
That's how it tends to go, is there's always that one that's like a big gap. I remember when I was climbing up the ranks of the Persona stories, and I was like, oh wow, I'm probably never going to get there. But, you know, you do eventually. It just takes time.
Yeah, I wouldn't really worry about it. I know for a fact that most of the ones at the top are rubbish. I say that because mine is at the top, and it's rubbish.
I like that self-awareness.
I don't. He's wrong.
You have to believe your own stuff sucks, to a degree.
The harshest critic should always be yourself.
Indeed. But, as I said, it's only right to take some amount of pride in what you make. I mean, if you don't have an excessive amount of pride, that's one thing, but you need to have some confidence in what you've written. Otherwise, how will you ever publish it? How will you ever improve your confidence?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I look at it like, my stuff sucks, and yet I'm still super proud, like, wow, I think this sucks, and this is how many people enjoy this? Awesome.
Yeah. Imagine what would happen if I wrote something that didn't suck.
Yeah.
I haven't done it yet, but I keep on trying.
But yeah, for the crossbrain, even just a few minutes ago, Zomnia came up with another idea that would turn everything that we have planned on its head, and it was a very good idea. He just keeps brainstorming new and incredible ways to warp the story every day, and it just keeps getting better. I have no doubt that one day we'll reach the top place in the fandom, though I have no illusions that it'll be anytime soon. But besides the crossbrain, not much noteworthy that's happened aside from a few spiritual things, religion-based.
Okay.
So just the norm for me. Another few days in this ugly yet beautiful world.
Oh.
Makes everything sound so poetic.
Yeah.
Oh.
Alright. Oh, I actually forgot something that I did. I started watching Kaiji like an hour ago. And yeah, that's a really good show. People should watch it, like right now.
Started watching what?
Kaiji.
Never heard of it.
Nor I.
They mentioned it on Stream 4-Star last night, I think it was, while they were playing Kingdom Hearts. I'm going to copy the way Liney described it. It's a show about gambling, and that's all I'm going to say.
Oh, I've looked at manga and stuff related to gambling before.
Great.
Oh, okay.
Now I have Kenny Rogers stuck in my head.
Unable to suddenly repay his friend's huge debt all by himself, Kaiji is offered a shady deal to participate in an illegal underground gamble on a cruise ship.
Yeah, you know the sort of psychological stuff you got in Hunter x Hunter, in like the exam arc and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I like psychological stuff.
It's all that.
And there's multiple seasons, I think, right?
Yeah, 2 seasons.
All right. I'll take a look at it.
It's a good show. It's a good show. I've only watched 2 episodes, but it's a good show. Yeah, so that's me redone, I guess. Zero, you're up.
All right. So as you guys can probably tell, I made a video for our 3 years and 500 subs, and that a lot of work went into that. Like, you wouldn't think so, but I recorded myself on like 4 different takes, and I did a lot of editing. There were about 20 ums that I removed, and just gaps in my speech that I had to take out, like pauses that were just unnecessary. Because I didn't script it or anything. It was all pretty much off the cuff. And that took like 3 or 4 hours the first time, and then I uploaded it, and then I listened to it the following morning, and I had it as a scheduled upload. And I was like, no, I can barely hear myself. I need to edit this. So I deleted it from our uploads, went back home after school, re-edited it, and made it so that I could get rid of all the sound effects and just put music in the background. And then I went ahead and published it after doing that much editing. The audio balancing was certainly a fun thing to do.
Yeah, it was a nice touch doing the Undertale theme when it was the nice and wistful, happy bit at the end. That was actually really nice. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right. I said I would mostly say you did a good job on that one and not be mad at you. The only things that you could have done better was stuff that you didn't actually know about, like the advertising stuff that I mentioned. So.
Yeah. Well, I was trying to do, my best.
Yeah. Good job.
I feel like we haven't made any real videos that really just thank people for, being there.
Yeah. I mean, we do it sometimes in the podcast as part of the podcast, but on its own, we don't really do it. You're right. I suppose we could.
And I was just really excited because I was having a really just good day that day, because on that same day, my dad was like, "Hey, so I bought those tickets for that Zelda Symphony of the Geass concert you want to go to." I was like, "Yeah," and I looked, it was like 500 subs. I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And then I went to school, and then I knew everything, and like I did good on all my any quizzes and everything. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, I'm gonna say thank you to everybody because this is awesome. I'm having a great time.
Yep.
So basically, what I got from that is that you basically sucked all of Casey's good fortune for this week into your week.
Yep.
Like some kind of good fortune vampire.
Yup.
Like some kind of chi vampire. Oh, this
Yup.
isn't Jackie Chan Adventures. So
I'm still happy. I never went to the Symphony of the Goddesses Zelda concert before. That's going to be December 10th. I'm going to go there, and I'll let you guys know what I thought of it. But I'm really excited because we're getting the first row, and not the first row, but the first section on the ground floor. We have pretty good seats all the way over in San Jose, so I have to drive like 2.5 hours. But my dad's like, "Oh, we'll make a day of it. We'll go to this there's this nice Italian restaurant down there." And yeah, I'm excited and looking forward to that.
Hey, Zero.
Yeah?
You remember how I was nice to you for like 30 seconds about a minute ago?
Yeah?
Yeah, it's never happening again. Like,
Yeah.
never.
think there's something about Zero that just encourages meanness. It's like everybody has to be nasty to him.
I mean, his life is so fucking stupendous.
Yeah. Who has a
Compared to
life
everyone
like that?
else's.
Come on.
Well, I'm just very positive about things.
Evidently.
I bought the Attack on Titan game for PS4.
I thought about that, and I was like, nah, there's no way this is good.
It was good.
It looks
It's good.
okay. It does
It
look
is.
okay.
It is. It's in the vein of Muso games, so there is a certain amount of repetitiveness to it, but I never got bored of it. I think there's like 3 main story chapters, and they're really long, made of multiple missions, and then there's like an epilogue which goes a little bit past the anime, and the swinging in that game feels so good.
Yeah. It's basically a Muso game where you're Spider-Man fighting giants. I don't know how you could make that badly.
It feels like you could make that swing bad. Trust me, you could totally make that swing just bad or awkward or not fun, but that swing just feels very good. It's satisfying. You're moving really fast because you can swing and then you can boost and then you can lock on to a Titan as you swing by, then grapple towards them, then just swing past them, slice the nape with their neck and move on, and it flows very well. And the cutscenes and everything look gorgeous. The whole game looks gorgeous. It's just a lot of fun. I know some people might not be into Attack on Titan or necessarily have that much of love for movement options like I do, but it is a very satisfying game to play, and I'll recommend it.
Cool.
On top of that, I had gone and done just like a whole day of shopping, and I bought myself the complete tales and poems of Edgar Allan Poe, because he's awesome, and I'm going to tear into that and probably ruin some of my positivity, definitely, but I've always enjoyed his works.
I think that'd be a positive-negative balance there, because as the positive, this guy's writing is really fucking good, but then the negative, this guy's writing is really fucking depressing. So it balances out.
Is he the one who did The Raven?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, yeah. That's the only
And The Pendulum in the Pit and The Telltale Heart.
Cask of Amontillado.
Yes, I love that one. It's, I'm looking forward to just being able to tear into that, because he's just been one of my favorites.
The Raven.
Aside from that, what?
The Raven.
Yeah, The Raven. It's weird, but I don't think I've actually read The Raven before, and so I'm excited to being able to actually, tear into that. Like, it's his most famous work, and I've never actually read it, so.
I like the language he used. I don't like the poem itself in general. Just,
Depressing.
Yeah.
Depressing isn't... Oh. What about The Mask of Red Death? You know that one?
Yeah.
That one was...
That one's a good one. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of good works, and I haven't read like most of his poems, so it has all his poems, all his stories. Really, looking forward to that. I have it right over here. So yeah.
But I can definitely understand your opinion, Casey. He's a masterful writer, but his writing is very morbid, very depressing, not something that would be encouraging.
It's not very uplifting.
Yeah.
That's the word I was looking for, uplifting.
But if you know a little bit about what Edgar Allan Poe specifically has been through in terms of all the deaths and disease he's seen, it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, the depressing thing isn't...
Sorry? I was thinking there was like urban legends about him, which wasn't actually true, or something like that.
There's probably several, but his life in general was kind of shitty.
Yeah.
To put it very understatedly, but yeah.
I believe he died, like, stumbling out of a bar and drunk.
Yeah, I mean, the depressing thing isn't that much of an issue for me. I mean, I'm a big fan of, like, Wilfred Owen and things like that, but I guess that's a different kind of depressing. I mean, it's morbid and gruesome, is Wilfred Owen poems. He did, like, stuff... he was a soldier in World War One, and he described that very vividly. But it's not the same thing as just wallowing in sadness the way Poe tends to, so...
So yay!
Yay!
More to that.
This is taking an interesting turn, this episode. Alright. Anything else, Zero?
Yeah. I decided, since, the new Pokemon game's coming up in November, I was going to go back to my childhood and play Pokemon Yellow.
Oh, yes, a very good game. I still have that one.
Yeah, I still have it too. I don't think I have a functioning Game Boy anymore.
What?
Fucking Pikachu.
You don't know where your Game Boy is?
I think it's broken.
I don't have a functioning Game Boy Color either, or I've got a couple of Game Boy Advances, but
I still have my Game Boy Advance, so I guess I could play it on that.
Yes.
But I wanted to play it on my 3DS, because what you can do with the new Pokemon game that's coming up is you can transfer Pokemon from the Virtual Console version of the Gen 1 games to the new Pokemon game.
Yep.
So I wanted to do that.
Yep. The Gen 1 remakes, or not remakes, no, just ports. They're basically ports, yeah.
Yeah.
You can transfer Pokemon into Pokemon Bank, which obviously is compatible with all the other games.
Well, you can only transfer the Gen 1s to the new Pokemon game that's coming out, because you have to change everything, because the stats are done differently in Gen 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's just a special stat,
attack.
not special attack or special defense.
It was all merged in one.
Yeah.
And there's no abilities or natures, which they introduced in later games.
They can't even hold items.
I guess they'd have to convert all that and stuff, and just give your Pokemon random abilities and split the special stat into what they would probably have for appropriate level for special attack and defense.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they manage that conversion.
You just want to transfer over Charmander, Bulbasaur, and...
I'm playing Pokemon Yellow, so my starter is Pikachu.
You can get all
you
three
can
in
catch
that
all
game.
three, though, yeah.
Yeah.
Not catch, but obtain all of them.
You can through, like, various means.
I thought they were all catchable. That's my mistake then.
No.
No. You have to, like, talk to certain people and get them.
Yeah, there's one per game. There's one per game obtained from a certain person. Bulbasaur, I believe, you obtain in Cerulean City if your Pikachu is at a high enough level of happiness. Charmander, you obtain north of Cerulean City. That one's the easiest. I think he just gives it to you.
Yeah.
And
I couldn't actually find that guy. He didn't spawn.
What? Yes, they don't...
He's directly north. It's pretty much impossible to miss him. He's straight...
He wasn't where I remembered him being, was the thing. So, I don't know. He might be...
He's on the ledge, like, right after you fight those dudes on the bridge, and...
Nugget Bridge.
Okay, so then I didn't miss him. That's fine.
And as for Squirtle, it's after you've beaten Lieutenant Surge in the Vermilion Gym, you just talk to the Officer Jenny, and she'll give it to you.
But like I'm more interested in just kind of like the first game I ever played was Pokemon. The first Pokemon game I ever played was Pokemon Yellow, and I could never beat it as a kid because I was dumb and I didn't know how to play Pokemon. But I remember at one point I made it to Lance of the Elite Four, and then I could not beat him.
In fairness, when Pokemon Yellow came out, you were like 4, so it's not that surprising.
Yeah, I played it over the span of years.
Plus, dragons are seriously overpowered in Gen 1.
Yeah,
there's
so...
like 2 ice types, and one of them is a legendary, so Yeah, it's a little bit tricky.
No, there were at least 4. I mean, Lorelei of the Elite Four specialized in ice. There was Lapras. There was
and
Cloyster and
Cloyster. You're right. Yes, Cloyster was an ice type. Yeah.
And Jinx.
Jinx is an ice type. Articuno's an ice type. Those are the ones I was thinking of.
Dugong.
Dugong.
Dugong,
Is
yeah.
Dugong actually an ice type, or does he just learn ice moves?
He's water.
No, Dugong is part ice.
God, I know nothing about Pokemon. You might be talking gibberish to me.
So essentially, what I have is I just made it to Cerulean City, and I got my Pidgey that I named Birdemic, and I bought that Magikarp for 500 Poké Dollars because screw you, I want a Gyarados.
I mean, why not?
And-
right?
Are
Why
you
not?
planning on taking advantage of the glitch? Are you planning on taking advantage of the glitch to get a Mew?
Nah, I'm just gonna try to
If
play
he's past
normally.
Cerulean, he's already passed it.
Yeah, I just want to play normally. I caught a Nidoran, the male one, because when I first played Pokemon as a kid, my older sister said, "Hey, you can't really beat that guy with your Pikachu," because I tried to beat Brock with my Pikachu. She's like, "If you catch this Pokemon here and get it to a certain level, it will learn. It can beat him." So I caught a Nidoran, and it learns Double Kick at like level 12. So as a kid, I just mindlessly ground in like that little patch of grass before Pewter City for a while until I got Double Kick, and then I basically used that Nidoran as my starter for the game and put Pikachu in a box.
Can you not get
Wow.
Mikey at Victory Road?
You
is that
can,
not
but I
known?
didn't know.
He didn't know
I
that.
didn't know.
He didn't know Victor Rose's direction he could or should go in.
Yeah. I remember, I was like 4 years old when this game came out.
Yeah. Bill Baby Zero. Oh.
So I do have a Mankey this time, though. He's very helpful. And a Clefairy that I named Cena.
Do-do-do-do.
You can't see me, my time is pound, because that's the only move it really has to attack.
Okay.
You know what my favorite move to use in Generation 1 was?
What?
Metronome.
Oh yeah. In
It may not
Generation
be-
2 of in Generation 2 of Pokemon, I had that Togepi, and it knew Metronome, and it used Metronome, and what it used was Sacred Fire, which is Ho-Oh's signature move,
Yeah, that happened to me once too, actually.
and it just annihilated the enemy. I was like, what the heck was that move? I'm playing Silver.
I constantly got explode.
Yeah. I don't remember
I mean-
whether we did the metronome run or whether that was Pokemon Rob. I know I've seen someone do it, and they did eventually get a self-destruct. And they were doing a Nuzlocke version, so he just died.
I mean, Metronome isn't the strategically useful move, but it's definitely the most enjoyable, the most entertaining move in the entire game.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've seen people battle with teams that just know Metronome, and it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I actually saw someone form a team, an exclusive team on Pokemon Stadium 2, formed 6 against 6, all of them using nothing but Metronome.
Yeah.
The opening was hilarious. Started with Mind Reader and then used Fissure. Can you believe that?
It's like playing poker without even looking at your cards, is what it is. I mean, it's ballsy as fuck, but it's not a good plan.
It's fun, though,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
and that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's a game. It's how you're supposed to play it.
So yeah, I'm enjoying playing through that, and getting used to the fact that I no longer have a run button.
Quick question. Am I fading out? Am I
No.
fading out?
No?
No?
No.
Okay.
All right.
My connection was showing that I was. Anyway,
Yeah.
are you one of those players who has a definite team of 6?
I tend to go with Like, what do you mean? Do I have a team planned out ahead of time?
Basically, yeah, just
Yeah, you just
a team.
kind of fall into comfort zones and just pick the same kind of thing every time.
I generally catch what I catch, and if there's one or two Pokemon that I really, really want, I'll make sure to keep them on. But I don't generally limit myself that much.
I see. I just asked because most of the, no, all of the Let's Players that I've seen play Pokemon on YouTube have been, they've selected a team of 6 ahead of time. Or,
Yeah, I do that. That's basically what the point of a Nuzlocke run is. It takes you out of your comfort zone and you're forced to use Pokemon you would probably never use otherwise.
whereas for me, I mean, I'm sort of like Zero in this case. I just catch whatever I can, and sometimes I fall back on certain Pokemon, like in Generation 3, I almost always use Gardevoir, but
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
Gardevoir.
I can understand that.
it really depends. I try raising up Pokemon as I can, just seeing which ones I like. One that I actually discovered a great amount of potency in my first playthrough of Omega Ruby was Bayonet, actually.
No.
Is that the puppet one?
Yeah,
Yes.
the ghost puppet thing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been long enough that I kind of miss doing the Nuzlocke thing again.
I was
Well,
the
why not
spirit.
try doing one?
I was a
Because
spirit.
the last time we did it, it was 130 episodes, and
You say that like it's a bad thing.
it kind of was. We hated that game by the end of it.
Fucking Black Tower. Fuck you, Black Tower. You cheated. You fucked
Here's a
up at the end.
suggestion.
I never got that Riolu.
Here's a suggestion.
Yeah, you did.
Rather than release the Pokemon, why don't you just try boxing them? That way they're not...
Because then it's not as impactful.
Exactly,
You gotta
Don.
have the moment where it's like, oh, we're saying goodbye to them forever and they can never come back.
We did box our aces at one point.
Yeah, by the end of it, we got to a point where we wanted to keep them as a memorial for the ones that were really awesome. Because, like, you know, we would name the Pokemon after our subscribers. We had a full list of subscribers and did a random number generator. So the ones that were really cool, we wanted to keep around, and we had this idea of, like, as Kenshi was complaining about the Black Tower, it's a bullshit hard thing from Blaze Black 2, right at the end, where you face basically a team of legendaries, and you can't use items, and one of them is actually level 102.
You've got to be kidding. Of course.
Yeah, we found
It
that out
was-
the hard way.
It's a level 102 Giratina
Yep.
that is meant to be fully defensive, has rest, and
Dragon
leftovers.
Tail. Yep, and uses Dragon Tail, so you can't actually plan anything out because he'll
Yeah,
just...
you can't just sit there and buff your Pokemon to try and get through its defense because it will Dragon Tail and you'll have to be switched. So
Yep. It was the worst thing we've ever had to face, and we planned this all-star team of all of our aces would come back out and do this one last thing to be super awesome. It wiped the entire team.
Did any
It
of them know Disable?
I think we did have someone that had Disable. I think we used it for... No, we had something that was basically immune to Dragon Tail. So we had him out and tried to get him to use up all of his Dragon Tails pointlessly.
mm-hmm.
I forget why it didn't work.
I mean, I could just go back and watch it. I don't.
We could,
I
yes,
mean,
it's still on the
like-
channel, so...
honestly, there was probably like if it wasn't a Nuzlocke, we could have definitely done that.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
like beat him. But
It was a
within the
Nuzlocke.
confines of the Pokemon that we've caught and everything, it just wasn't possible.
Yeah, we couldn't have done it. But, you know, it was a fantastic time doing it. We had a lot of good fun doing that back in the day. And I kind of miss it, but there aren't any real games that we could do that with anymore. Because Blaze Black 2... I'm going to bring this up again. I know I've explained it like 6 times on the podcast, but it's basically a hacked version of the game where all the gym leaders will have 6 Pokemon. It scales the game differently so that you go from starters at level 5 all the way up to level 100 by the end of the game. And it's all set up in ways where the gym leaders will have plans of attack. So you can't just roll up with, for example, an electric type at a water type gym, because they'll have Pokemon like, I think it's Lantern, that are electric type and have an ability Lightning Rod, so you can't actually injure them with an electric type.
No, that would be... Lightning Rod draws electric type attacks, but I don't think...
Yeah, it nullifies them, basically.
It does, yeah.
Like how I believe Flame Body also nullifies fire moves, and there's also a water ability that does the same thing with water moves.
I don't think... You're thinking of Volt Absorb and Flash Fire.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Flash Fire, sorry. Flame Body is the one that causes burn.
Yeah.
And then there was a point when we didn't know what kind of fucking battle we'd be getting. The first time that happened, I was terrified. Like,
yeah. And it would add, like, loads of trainers to the end of the game. Like, it would have... say, it would change one of the trainers from the end game routes to be Trainer Red. And you would fight Trainer Red, and he'd have, like, level 80-something Pokemon.
My.
It was fantastic, and it is still the best example of a Pokemon game I have ever seen, including the XY and the new Sapphire and Ruby. It's still better than those, in my opinion.
Well, here's a suggestion for you. If you don't want to do a Nuzlocke, then why not take a page out of the books of Josh Jepson and Tyler Cedarwall?
You're going to have to elaborate on that a little bit. Never heard of them.
Tyler Cedarwall, formerly under the username Attacking Toucans. Does that ring more of a bell?
Mm-mm.
Well, suffice to say they're a pair of Let's Players. Their claim to fame is this channel. Basically, they raced to see who can complete the game faster.
Okay. That sounds like a very difficult thing to set up, but it's something I'm going to think about.
I say it sounds like just doing it and everyone recording their own shit.
Also, I just wanted to say, if you guys do want to stream anything, anytime, it's something, if you guys want to, we could totally, stream a versus thing like this, if we could get that set up. It would be super complex, but that'd be cool.
I'd be all for it if we could actually get it set up. And one thing that they made it interesting, I've only ever watched the Fire Red versus, which also featured Game Boy Luke, who's also British, if that makes a difference, Casey.
Way to panda, but yeah, okay.
Anyway, they also had lifelines involved, interesting little sabotages that they could throw at each other, such as forcing the player to delete a move of their choice off of one of their Pokemon. For example, forcing your starter to forget the Elemental Hyper Beam once you got that, or forcing the player to throw away all of a certain item in their bag, such as...
Throw away all your Pokeballs.
Or all of your Master Balls, for that matter.
No, but, if you're playing it and it's right near the beginning and they spend all their money on Pokeballs and everything, and you tell them to throw all their Pokeballs away, they have to go with that one Pokemon.
It's kind of a dick move, but it sounds like something you would do, Zero.
I would do that. I play to win.
Well, they didn't introduce them until a little ways into the series, the lifelines.
I know, but if you did that right at the start, that would be... Ugh. Make the starter forget the one move they have that's attacking.
Okay, now that's a problem that's something that you can't do. I mean,
yeah,
the move
I
deleter.
know. Move delete is not even accessible at that point in the game. I know.
Yeah, not until after you've gotten the.
As far as Nuzlocke's in the possible future. I have mentioned before Pokemon Uranium and Pokemon Fugolin. Pokemon Uranium being the fan game that's actually pretty high quality with...
I looked at that and it does look really good. I'd be
with
interested.
a lot of original Pokemon. It's actually rather difficult too. A lot more difficult than the standard Pokemon game. And it has a Nuzlocke mode built into it.
Cool.
On top of that, Pokemon Fuelin is the Team Rocket version of a Pokemon game. It's a ROM hack where you join Team Rocket.
If memory
You gotta
serves,
work
that
your
one's
way
not
up the
that
ranks.
one's not a great one for a Nuzlocke because it's not fair in terms of scaling. You literally can't do it, or you're gonna have a really fucking hard time even getting past the
I
first
don't.
area.
I didn't look into it much, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, Pokemon Rob tried it. It didn't work.
Man, we've been on Pokemon for a while.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. I've
Well,
got
hey, you know
absolutely no
what? This
idea
is
you're talking
the
about.
3-year special, and Pokemon was a huge part when we did that gigantic, frickin' 130 episode Nuzlocke.
I was a Spiritomb. It was great until I died on bullshit.
Yeah,
You were like,
Spiritomb.
you were like that was. I couldn't believe that you ended up being a Spiritomb. Of all the things,
Mm.
like a freaking pseudo legendary like that.
Literally one of the most broken Pokemon in the game. Has no weaknesses.
Spiritomb?
Yeah, it has no weaknesses. It's Ghost Dog, I want to say? No, that's
Yes.
not it. Is it? Yeah.
Yes, it's Ghost and Dark, yes.
Yeah. So Ken got really lucky and died anyway, because that's how Nuzlocks work.
And
But
Casey
that's-
died multiple times.
Yeah, he
That's
did.
not a pseudo-legendary, though.
Well, it's very rare. It's hard to get in the original games. You had to take that rock to that certain like building, and then you had to catch it.
Yeah, I remember you had to take the odd keystone, put it in the hallowed tower, then go underground and talk to 33 people underground. Only then would Spiritomb appear, which means
Yeah.
that it's pretty much impossible to do nowadays on Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum unless you have multiple cartridges and consoles, or unless you know someone else very close to you who happens
Yeah, so that's why I call it a
That's-
pseudo legendary.
That's
But-
another reason why the hack versions are really good, by the way, because they let you catch everything. Legendaries included. So Blaze Black 2, you can
I
catch
classify
all...
anything that's really just more hard to get like that as more of a pseudo legendary when it's
Well,
set.
to clarify, the term pseudo-legendary in the fandom usually refers to seven
Stat-
specific
It
seven
refers
specific
to
Pokemon.
stat distribution. It basically has the stats of a legendary without being a legendary.
Oh.
There are 7 of them altogether: Dragonite, Tyranitar, Salamence, Metagross, Garchomp, Hydreigon, and Goodra. So far, there's bound to be one more in the upcoming generation, of course.
Guy,
Mm-hmm.
you're
Yes,
having
hello?
some feedback problems there, buddy.
Alright, well,
How?
so,
Guy, type, Guy. We can't hear a word you're saying. Try
can you hear
typing.
me?
Yes-ish?
You can hear me, or what's happening?
Yes. Okay, it seems to have stopped, whatever it was.
Okay, that was
Your
weird.
microphone. Your microphone, dude, I swear. What were you saying, patient? Sorry.
I was just saying that the pseudo-legendaries...
Yeah, he was listing them off, and
yeah.
you know, like Goodra and Dragonite, Tyranitar, and whatever new one they'll introduce in the new one.
Yeah, it's just Dragonite, Tyranitar, Salamence, Metagross, Hydreigon, Goodra, and Garchomp. And there's bound to be one more in this generation. Most likely a dragon.
They tend to be dragons, yeah.
They already introduced like the first form of a dragon in the new Pokemon game, so that might end up being it.
I'm gonna stop us right here because
Yeah, okay, we're getting on a huge Pokemon rant. I know.
Yeah, huge.
are we getting on 1-0? Is that what we're doing? No.
Yeah,
This shows exactly how much I miss doing Pokemon by the fact that I let this go on for as long as it has, which is about 20 minutes to half an hour. So we're gonna move on to Random A, I think, unless Zero
yeah.
has something last he wants to do, like right now.
No, that was basically everything I did. School and everything.
Okay.
Let's just keep moving.
Okay. So Random A was Jackie Chan Adventures. Jackie Chan
Yeah.
is a dude, and he has adventures, and he has a niece.
No, he's not just a dude. He's an archaeologist.
He's an archaeologist, and he's also Jackie Chan.
Except he's not Jackie Chan, because he was voiced by a guy named James C., I want to say it's pronounced.
Yeah, he's not Jackie Chan at all. He's Jackie Chan in name
They
only.
have him in the intro, though, huh?
And the outro, yeah.
They actually have a little Q&A section with Jackie Chan, the real Jackie Chan, at the end of every episode.
Yeah.
I believe the Q&A at the first episode was what made you decide to want to have a cartoon series featuring you, or something like that.
Not gonna lie, I didn't watch that, but I saw that it was there.
So this is this thing it ran from like September of 2000 to 2005, and so I was born in 1995, so I was like 5 years old when this first started. And
as someone completely new to the show, I didn't watch it at all, even when I was a kid. It runs on child logic.
Yeah,
So
it's a kid's show.
yeah, it is a kid show. Child logic abounds throughout the entire thing. Comedy's good. Gonna say it was funny. I did laugh a few times.
Yeah, the main characters are the Jackie Chan of that show, who serves as an archaeologist. His niece Jade, who's Japanese and is staying with him in an attempt to curb her delinquent tendencies. He didn't even know he had a niece until she showed up, and she's the resident snarker among them, the mischief maker, troublemaker.
She's the kid character.
Yeah. And there's also the character who's known simply as Uncle, who seems to be everyone's uncle.
Mhm.
Experienced in arcane arts. He's the one who does research to help solve the problems of the current conflict in the series.
Mm-hmm.
The series starts off with millionaire organization helping an ancient demonic sorcerer trying to get his body back in exchange for a literal king's ransom of treasure.
Is that what it starts with? I could have sworn it started with a fucking Matrix parody.
You watched the wrong episode then.
Did I?
You definitely watched the wrong episode.
You watched the first episode of a different season.
Okay.
We're talking about season 1 here. The plot of season 1 was trying to prevent the demon sorcerer Shendu, draconic being, from getting his body back together by...
Basically what happens is Jackie's doing some Indiana Jones type things as an archaeologist, and he finds this shield that has this sort of stone coin looking thing embedded in the center of it, and he brings it back home, and his uncle's, he's going to donate it to the local university, and the uncle's like, oh, hey, guess what? You have a niece, and she's here from Hong Kong. Take care of her. And he's like, wait, what? And yeah, basically people are after this shield because of this organization and whatnot. And
Jackie's approached by an old friend of his who turns out to be in charge of a secret military organization designed with stopping the specific corporation that's after the shield and the stone within. It turns out that the stone is actually a magical talisman, one of 12, which the sorcerer Shendu needs to regain his power. Each of the talismans is imbued with one of the 12 signs of the Chinese zodiac,
and each one offers special power.
For example, the one that they find in the first episode, imbued with the rooster, enables the holder the power of telekinesis. Casey, you're not coming through.
I'm not saying anything, that's why.
Yeah, he's just being quiet.
I apparently watched the wrong thing, so I'm just...
Yeah, you watch something multiple seasons later. Or at least one, or at least the second or third season.
Well, I clicked on the thing that said Jackie Chan Adventures 1, and that's the one I saw, so...
How many seasons were there of that?
5.
5.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It was kind of so long ago, they've all just blurred in together, I think.
Kenshi,
Yo,
Jackie Chan.
I mean, watching the show gave me a nostalgia boner. Like, nobody's business. Like,
oh, there's Toru. He's gonna join them later.
yeah, I forgot the Dark Hand was an actual threat for like 2 seconds, and then they weren't anymore at all. Like, ever.
Yeah. It's like, oh wait, there's more. There's a lot more, actually. All these jobbers, tend to be more friendly than anything else later on.
Yeah, my favorite episode is still the episode where Jackie split in two, the good Jackie and bad Jackie, and hung out with the Dark Hand. It was fun.
Yeah, that was the result of the last of the 12 talismans that they found. The tiger. It was basically, its ability was balance, giving the mental fortitude needed to keep all 11 of the other abilities intact without losing yourself. But if it's split in half, it turns whoever it affects into the good half and the bad half, the light side and the dark side of them, yin and yang.
Yeah,
that was the more frequent. That was the more frequent demonstration of that talisman in the show. The whole balance thing didn't really come into play very much, except for that one memorable instance where someone was using it in an attempt to keep from being knocked over by an excessive amount of force, and turns out it was the wrong kind of balance.
But it's if it's one of those shows where you get a celebrity face to really sell it, and and it goes to be more than that. It has what I think some very memorable moments, some very good character development, all things considered, and a lot of action, and just a fun show that I watched when I was a kid.
Again, from the thing I saw, not a show you want to try and apply logic to. Just sit back and enjoy it. Don't think about it too much.
To be fair, its market was all kids, so
yeah.
If you want a show that's a more adult comedy that features a celebrity and is a cartoon, go watch Mike Tyson Mysteries.
Oh,
yeah, watch Mike Tyson Mysteries.
Remember that time he kept killing the astronauts?
Yes.
Okay, are we gonna roll?
Yeah, I'm rolling.
Just can't stop killing astronauts.
4.
4 is C.
See.
Alright, so it's 136.
Like C as in yes.
C. It's 137,
see,
by the way. That was really easy to count.
I think it was Team Force that they were recording the.
Yep, it was the Naruto 4
The Naruto
thing. That's
thing
why I
with,
kept doing
with
C.
Guy,
Yeah.
and he's doing the C.
They played the game in neutral Spanish, and Mike Guy's voice was fantastic.
And
Anytime he did anything, he would just shout, C! So that became the go-to thing to shout randomly for no reason. Or when they got the ranking and it happened to come back as a C.
C!
Is this 137?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kind of want it to be number 1, to be honest with you. But we'll see what it comes up as.
98.
Ah, bollocks.
Count.
Alright, bear with me.
So, we'd be much better at that if you didn't tell us to, basically tell us to talk when you're counting. Doesn't talking when you're counting, mess up your counting?
How about we just say random numbers to mess them up?
How about we just do
97.
silence?
He would
48,
just
32,
he would just kick you
76.
off.
What number was it?
97 or 98. I'm sorry.
7, so that's 94, 95, 96, 97, 98. Was it 98?
Yes.
Well, that's not great. Code Geass.
Dang! Your favorite thing of all time.
Yep, I get to correct everyone about how it's pronounced for the next week. That's going to be wonderful. All right. So the thing we have to watch is the first episode
Boy, I
of
can't wait to watch Code Geass.
Fuck You Zero.
To someone who actually cares about being correct, would you mind giving me the correct pronunciation, Casey?
It's Geass. It's
Geass. Got it.
Well, how
That's-
come the people in the
that's
show
one
say
of-
Geass?
That's one of the correct pronunciations. Technically speaking, it's a different word because it's a fantasy thing that's bullshit. But the concept behind it is it's like a contract with the soul kind of thing. It's a Geass. It's a curse. You will do this thing, and if you don't do it, you will die. Is the kind of thing that we're talking about.
I've heard of that before. I read
yeah.
a story about that once before.
Yeah, there's a few different
also spelled
valid
in D&D.
pronunciations. There's a few valid pronunciations for it, but Geass is definitely not one of them.
But how come they say it in the show then?
Because, like I say, it's a different word. It's actually spelled entirely differently. It's supposed to be Geis.
Then I guess it's not Geass.
Which one of these things is it?
It's Geass. If they're going to be symbolic, we're going to do symbolism, so it's going to be Geass.
Which one is it? Because I see like 6 of these things.
The first one. It's
It's
just called
Code Geass,
Geass.
Lelouch of the Rebellion, I think it's called.
Yeah, it's just called Code Geass. It's not the spin-off with... there was a spin-off with Suzaku, and there was a spin-off with Nunnally, I
Yep,
believe.
and there was also a second season, so...
Yeah, there was also a second season. And there was a manga that took place in like an alternate universe and in the past. And then there was another thing where it's like it's a different main character from the same point of view. Or it's a different main character that happened during the time that Lelouch was in the middle of doing his take over the world thing.
Yep.
Also,
There was also a few visual novels where you could play as like an albino-looking dude, I think.
I didn't know you were playable.
It's funny. Yeah.
It's
So,
really not. Alright.
yeah. So Code Geass is the thing that we're going to be watching this week. Yay! I'm so
Yay.
looking forward to this. It does actually have a decent dub, so if you want to watch it dubbed, feel free, or subbed. It's up to you.
Or if you want to watch the abridged version. Code Ment. That's fun. That's actually one of the best abridged series in my list of abridged series.
That's not... High Praise is not that many good abridged series.
But it's one of the good ones. It's just a lot of fun and crazy and nonsense.
Okay.
Just what I generally expect. And I'm generally surprised when it turns out to be things like there's a difference between... You really have two types of abridged type series, where you have the one that is comedy but also improves upon the series, and the other which improves upon the series a little bit, but is mainly just comedy and making fun of it, which is fine by me.
Or there's the ones that are just stupid references throughout the entire thing and are kind of shit.
Yeah. We don't talk about those.
Yeah, so I guess we can move on from Random A. Did I put in the thing? I did not. I need to do that and put it in the link dump. Alright, so, first topic for the episode that we finally get to at an hour and 20 minutes, so we're probably just going to do one.
Oh, come on. It's our 3-year special. I think we have the right to talk.
We're not going to do a 2.5-hour podcast. It's not going to happen.
Fine.
Alright. Bear with me. Alright, so the topic that we're going to be doing is anti-heroes. Someone asked about it in the comments, so we're going to do it.
Yes, it was the person who asked specifically was Eden Meza. So
Yay.
we're going to talk about anti-heroes. I mean, he specifically said how to change a classical anti-hero into a more morally gray but still likable anti-hero while avoiding 90s anti-hero tropes.
Yeah, so I'm assuming what they mean by classical anti-hero is not the actual classical anti-hero, which is a thing from classic literature, but more the 90s.
Yeah, the 90s
so edgy
cartoon.
and shit thing. Yeah.
Like, oh man, he's an edgelord riding in his red mech.
Or black. Yeah. Black was a big thing as well. Yeah. If you weren't red, you were black.
I was thinking Gundam. But yeah. I actually haven't really watched much of. I watched it a little bit when I was younger, but Gundam with Char in his red mech. I don't know.
I don't know shit about Gundam, so sorry.
It's okay. I barely know anything, anyways. But
actually, tell a lie. I did watch Gundam 00, and that wasn't good. So
I like giant robots, so
I could take or leave them.
You know, chicks dig giant robots.
Thanks, Coop.
Yeah. So, anti-heroes. The tropey anti-heroes would probably be the ones that don't get depth, just on the face of it. You get the guy that is just, you know, wants to have the simple solution to the problem. So just starts killing people at random. Well, not at random.
He's like the hero, except he kills people, and he's so much cooler.
Yeah, it takes away a lot of the nuance doing that sort of thing, where they just go with the simple solution, and that actually takes away some of the conflicts of the story, because there are a lot fewer moral conundrums and things like that, because they don't care. That's not a concern for them.
You know, I kind of... Echo. I wanted to bring up Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z. Because one of the things is he's introduced as a flat-out villain, then he becomes more of an anti-hero where he still kind of does things on his own, and he's still like he's not going to go out and destroy the world or anything, but like he has a lot of issues that he grapples with. And one of the things I think that really helps to humanize his character a lot more is that it's not that he's cooler and better than Goku or anything, but that he is weaker, and that bothers him so much because he has so much pride.
He's got a lifelong inferiority complex that they go into detail on. He's the prince of a planet that was basically beholden to Frieza. And that planet got destroyed. And then this guy that shouldn't have been shit is the one that ended up taking out Frieza. So now he owes his life to this guy.
He owes basically a huge debt that he can't ever really repay.
But he resents him for having power that he should have had as the true last representative of the Saiyans. Even when he gets it, it's still not enough.
He never can catch up to Goku. He tries, and he comes closer than anyone else, but he just can't.
And probably his most famous moment is when he decides that his pride and his ambition to prove himself as superior to Goku is worth risking the entire planet by letting Cell power up and reach his perfect form.
I mean, Vegeta... Oh, go ahead.
That's one thing, certainly, but I think that the next saga actually trumps
in the Majin Buu saga, he decides I can never be good. I can never beat him as long as I'm good. So I'm going to let him basically go to this guy to get a power up and beat evil, because that's the only way I'll ever be able to beat him.
only to find that he had fought Goku to a standstill while Goku was holding back the entire time.
Yeah. Like, his character, like, development throughout that show is the best part of the show. That's why people love
And I
Vegeta.
think one of the key things is, one of the things that really, aside from that, even further, is the fact that he has family that he does actually care for. And he gets that. I mean, it takes a while to get there, but once he has that, you're like, okay, you kind of form an even stronger bond with him. Like when he self-destructs to save his son and whatnot, and sacrifices his life for his own family.
Yes, or in a somewhat more humorous example, the part where he finds out that in order to potentially save the planet by giving Goku's son a divine amount of training, Goku had promised that said god, an old, somewhat perverted god, that he could have a kiss from Goku's old friend, who happened to be Vegeta's wife. Now, how was it that he reacted? Give me a second. Hey, Kakarot, you wouldn't happen to be talking about Bulma by any chance? Oh, you are, aren't you? You idiot! How could you? Don't you have any sense at all? Let him kiss your woman!
I've heard worse impressions.
It sounded a lot like Nappa, actually.
Yeah. It sounded a lot like DBZA Nappa.
Maybe try cutting that out of the thing. But
No,
honestly,
we'll leave that in.
no.
I've done embarrassing voices too, so we're leaving it in.
anyway, what I like best about that scene is Goku's response. But she's not near as pretty as Bulma is, see? It's a compliment. I still wish I could see Chi-Chi's reaction to Goku saying that.
Wait for DBZA to do it. They'll work it in somehow, I'm sure.
I think going back to the main point about anti-heroes is that you have to, like, if you want your anti-hero to be that morally gray but still likable anti-hero while avoiding 90s anti-hero tropes, you want to go into more into depth about these characters and what they're necessarily struggling with. And again, like, Vegeta's more like relatable because he's the underdog in a lot of ways, and like I think the point is you don't want your anti-hero to overshadow your main character necessarily.
You want to give the anti-hero, you need to show the audience what is important to the anti-hero, because a lot of what the anti-hero is about is that not much matters to them. So you have to show the audience what does matter to them and what they're willing to go to bat for.
Like,
because that gives the audience something to root for them about.
Yeah. Once you see that Vegeta is very much about his pride and being the last of the Saiyans and avenging his people who, were killed by Frieza, then it becomes a lot more likable. He becomes a lot more relatable. Because it goes from him just being a douche that works for Frieza to a guy who, is trapped working for the guy who killed his entire race just so he can get strong enough and survive to kill that boss.
For another example, significantly less impactful, since I haven't seen the series in a long time, but seriously, it's been over a decade or something. But I'm thinking of one of the later seasons of Sailor Moon when sailors Uranus and Neptune came into the picture, and they had sort of a uncomfortable relation with the main characters because either they were much more powerful than them, or they just had no reservations at all about using their full power for lethal force.
I have no idea whether you made a good point there, because I got so focused on what you said right at the beginning. I know you're pronouncing it Uranus, so you're not saying Uranus, but all I heard was Sailor Moon's urine is, and then whatever else you said. And
I actually was focused on the word Uranus a lot too. I'm sorry,
Why?
but at the
we're
same
very
time,
immature. I'm sorry about that, but
when you were talking about them, the other people being more powerful and whatnot, very kind of a similar situation. Yeah, antiheroes. Got anything to add, Ken?
you have written a few, in fairness.
I mean, not really. Like, I see Antihero as not the main character. So...
I would disagree with that. Not that I'm going to go into detail about it, but Code Geass is an example of an anti-hero protagonist.
Yeah, you can do an anti-hero protagonist. In that point, though, like, I think that, you always want to have that part of the anti-hero that humanizes them and makes them relatable, like, in Code Geass. Thanks for the
I love
echo.
that was the echo.
perfect,
That
yeah.
was good time.
In Code Geass, Lelouch has his younger sister, Nunnally, who he cares immensely for, and he wants to make a better world for her. And that
is the
motivation...
linchpin of his entire emotional stability. Everything revolves around her, basically.
You really need some sort of anchor, some sort of significant redeeming quality for an anti-hero to keep them on the side of, well, in morally gray territory, if not slowly becoming an outright hero. Otherwise, it could just spiral until it becomes like Light Yagami in Death Note, an outright villain protagonist. There's a fine line between anti-hero and
It's
villain.
doing bad things for a good reason, rather. Or some sort of positive.
I'd say
Or some sort of relatable motivation.
I'd call Light Yagami an anti-villain, technically.
Isn't an anti-villain a villain that's a bad guy that's actually has more noble intent and would do better on the side of good?
Yeah. That's what I'd describe Light Yagami as. He is a villain, absolutely. But his intention is to make a better world. His methods are reprehensible.
Which eventually leads to him losing his mental stability and becoming a downright villain. That's more of what I was referring to. He starts off having morals, but the more he goes on, the less he cares, really.
Yeah,
He's
he's never at the state of hero. He basically starts as an anti-hero, then to an anti-villain, and then to a villain. It's almost like a literal slippery slope going down. Well, a figurative one. But we could have a whole other debate based around the morality of Death Note, really.
Yeah, so let's avoid that for now. And does anybody else have anything to add regarding anti-heroes, 90s tropes?
Fantastic use of anti-hero thing is Punisher and Daredevil, I believe.
Yeah, I would say the Punisher on its own, like as its own series, is basically he is the anti-hero, and then some of the antagonists are heroes who are trying to take him off of the path that he's on, but he refuses to. And that's an interesting interpretation of not interpretation, but approach to the dynamic.
But then you get to that one comic where his family's still alive, but he's still
kind of a dick, yeah.
That's a thing.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of a lot of the Punisher stuff, so I'm just not even going to try. The connection died a little bit there, so if people were talking, I didn't get any of it, so I just thought I'd fill the time.
I was saying, there's one particular alternate universe. I think it's in Spider-Gwen, where the Punisher's family is still alive, but he's still the Punisher.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I suppose that was always the thing about Punisher. He does it because he enjoys it, really.
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily call him an anti-hero.
Is that a case of he's the Punisher, but his family are alive? Is that a case of his family died or seemed to die, and he became
His
the Punisher,
family's
and then they came
alive, and he
back?
wants to protect them.
Oh, in that case, yeah, he's not really an anti-hero. He's just kind of a dick.
Yeah.
And a murderer, actually.
He's kind of insane, is the thing.
He was always kind of insane. His family dying just gave him a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just think about it, particularly for fanfic. I would say you always be very careful when writing the anti-hero. Because in a lot of ways it is wish fulfillment, really. People want to be the cool badass that walks the line between good and evil, who has his own and things like that. But if you're trying to write a character like that, it comes off very bad very easily.
Yeah. Like we say, they need, as Patient put it, an anchor point. You don't have to establish it immediately. You can have it go for a bit with them just being the anti-hero that gives no fucks. But at some point you need to establish what really matters to them.
It's really easy to just put in a lot of edge and not a lot of substance.
Anything else anyone wants to drop in? Last minute?
I suppose that just about covers it.
Patient, were you about to say something?
Well, I was just going to ask, are you asking about on the subject of anti-hero or on the podcast altogether? Because...
Anti-hero.
Okay. No, I can't think of any other examples. Well, I can think of one, but I'd rather not share that particular example, so...
Okay. Alright, I guess we can move on to recommendations then.
Alright.
Put out there.
Recommendations? Geass?
Yes, I've got a recommendation. Hold on, give me 5 minutes while I find it.
Alright, well I was just going to say, if you're interested in Attack on Titan, like you've watched the anime, and you like Spider-Man games, and you like the movement of Attack on Titan, go play it. It's a lot of fun, and, it's mindless fun a lot of the time, like any Muso game, but it's still a lot of fun. I enjoyed it, and I still haven't gotten bored of it.
Okay, I'm gonna just double check this, and that's not something I'm gonna recommend. I'm gonna second Patient's recommendation from last week, which was Brother on Board.
Oh yeah, I haven't gotten around to reading that. How was it?
It was pretty good. A lot of the time when it comes to One Piece fics, when people just put someone else on the crew, the big problem is they end up being an observer and not actually a participant. That is my big problem with a lot of those stories. This one makes Sabo a participant.
Mm-hmm.
He actually has a decently developed character that is outside of just about everything from canon as far as I'm aware. It pulls together really well. And the writer did a good job of integrating him into the main cast.
And it seems to be still updating too.
Absolutely. It updated while I was reading it, I believe. So, yeah. Oh, and also, Patient mentioned that it does stay mostly with canon. I would argue that it changes enough that it still feels fresh, which is really the important thing when it comes to the early arc stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I admit there's not much you can change without it being completely different immediately. So the fact that keeps enough that it's still similar, and then also changes up enough that you don't feel like you're just reading a transliteration of the manga. It's a lot better that way. So writer did a great job, and I'm looking forward to the next update. So
Glad you liked it, Casey. Alright.
So my turn now, is it? Or
we'll go with Guy, and then we'll go with Patient, I think.
Yeah, I do.
My recommendation, I suppose it's similar to one which I recommended before. A while ago I recommended a Song of Ice and Fire fic called Our Choices Seal Our Fate, which was a really good story, a really long story, and I liked it enough that I went to look at the author and other things which he has written. And another good one, quite similar but unique enough that it's a good story in its own right. A Night's Watch. So it's basically the story where Jon Snow didn't join the... if he didn't take the black, he instead went to the south and he became a knight. And it's a fairly weak beginning, in all honesty. It's divergence, but it doesn't really feel like a divergence for a lot of it. Because he doesn't take the black, he becomes a knight, but he doesn't really do anything. He's just wandering around, doesn't affect the story. But then the part where it gets really, really good is when it almost feels like a continuation on from the actual novels. The bit where he goes into fresh territory, the bit where the novels haven't caught up. And that's where it becomes original, it becomes really interesting. And yeah, it's a very good story. So it's over 600,000 words. It's complete, but it's waiting on the sequel, which it's a very good story. It's that type of story.
Okay, we got most of that. You cut out towards the end. Hello?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep, it cut out quite a bit towards the end.
What was the last thing I said?
It was a really good story. It's waiting on a sequel that may or may not, and then it kind of just stopped.
Right, so yeah, the story's finished. It's just waiting on a sequel that may or may not happen. But it's a good story in its own right, and it feels a lot like a Song of Ice and Fire.
Okay. Fair enough then. Patient.
Well, I do have a recommendation for this week. For once, it's not in the One Piece fandom. This is actually a Harry Potter fic that I stumbled on a while back. 716,078 Harry Potter fanfictions on these sites. It ranks at number 76, so pretty high up there. Just hoping that it can get a bit more publicity from this. The story's name is Harry Potter Dark Memories by Jessica Lynn Campos, or rather, under the username Blue Owl. Here's the link. Just a moment.
Okay, thank you.
For the love of... There.
Okay.
So yeah. The only reason I mentioned her real name is that since she wrote that story, she's gone professional. She's in the midst of writing that story. She published another actual book, a novel entitled The Risen, the Chosen, and the Dark. I don't have the pleasure to have read that, but if it's anything like this story, I definitely recommend it. Basically, the plotline of Harry Potter Dark Memories, it's an alternate universe story, slightly different at first, and the differences blossom out. Anyway, the night that Voldemort tried to kill Harry in Godric's Hollow, it wasn't just some of his powers that he gave him. Harry also was cursed with the memories of Tom Riddle's entire lifetime, from the moment he was old enough to understand to the moment that he failed to kill Harry with the killing curse. So obviously he spends the first decade of his life wondering if he's insane with all of these memories of a madman in his mind. And when Hagrid shows up to take him away, he starts coming to terms with it and soon learns exactly what they are.
Go ahead.
The main thing is that with the extra memories of who is definitely one of the most intelligent and most powerful wizards of the time in his mind, he, essentially, he makes a lot of more mature decisions earlier on, making better impressions with some people, having a lot more proficiency in his courses. But that's just the start of it all. It follows canon pretty closely up until honestly, it stops following canon at the end of the first year, but it's completely obliterated by the end of the second year.
Okay.
I didn't do a very good job of describing this story, I think. I could have done so much better.
What's unique about it? Because there's a lot of stories that are like this, where Harry gets Voldemort's memories because that's, it feels like an obvious choice for where the plot could go as an alternative. So what makes this unique among those stories?
Well, I'm not sure I can answer that question effectively, considering the fact that I've never read any of those other stories.
Fair play. Alright, so check it out if you like those sort of stories, then I guess is the best we can do for the time being.
I suppose so.
I'll probably have a look at it myself and see if I can figure anything out for how it's different. It might just be that the writing's better than those, because there's a lot of those, like I said, a lot of them are shit. So a good example of that sort of plot would be a nice thing to see, I'm not going to lie.
Well, I may as well put in one more recommendation.
If you like, don't waste them all, because you might end up like Kenshi and not ever give anything.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure I can come up with some more in the coming week.
All right.
For now, I'm going to go ahead and recommend. I recommended one of Hornet's stories last time, so I'm going to recommend one of Zomniac's this time. One that's actually finished. His first One Piece story, a story called Ripples, Waves, Tsunamis. I believe he mentioned it in our interview with you.
Possibly. That was a while ago, so
Apologies.
that's all right.
So it's only 52,000 words, 9 chapters, just a short story that takes place after the time skip, before the events of Punk Hazard happen. Basically a what-if scenario of, just a certain ghost from a certain member of the crew's past coming back to them. I can't give away too many details without spoiling the whole plot, but it's a good little story, and, well, I would recommend it, obviously.
I'd guessed which one of the crew it would have been from. Based on the title, I was absolutely correct. So if you're thinking what I'm thinking, then yeah, you're right.
Now I feel stupid for never making that connection before.
Yeah, it's in the name. Her name is literally in the title, technically. Yeah, I've seen people play with that particular facet of that and take it way out of proportion. It was not good. I've seen stories where she is secretly the queen of the oceans or something stupid like that, but...
Oh, no. This is nothing like that. Nothing.
Yeah, okay.
It references back to references back to those 8 years, but nothing earth-shaking.
Okay.
Nothing like that.
So it kind of fits into canon a little bit.
Yeah, it could conceivably fit into canon.
Okay. All right, so I think that's pretty much everything for this week. We don't do Patreon. No, it's like the middle of the month, so no, we don't do Patreon this week. So I guess that's pretty much the episode for episode 146. I would like to thank everybody for listening to the Fandom Flux Podcast episode 146. If you'd like to get in contact with us, you can do so through the YouTube channel, through the comments. Please donate on Patreon if you feel so inclined. Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for listening to the Fandom Flux Podcast episode 146, and thank you for listening for the past 3 years. It's been fantastic.
Yay!
I just beat Gary. Screw you, Gary. One yellow right now.
Okay.
Anyway.
Friggin' comes out with level 18 spear. What am I supposed to do to that?
You're the reason this Raticate's dead.
You're
You
completely...
know what? I'm glad.
Forget it.
It was a good moment.
Look forward to the hopefully video podcast next week.
Yay.
Yay.
Thanks, Zero.
You guys...
You shit.
What? Thank you, everybody. I made a video for you guys because I love you all so much.
Bye.
I can shout about Gary. Screw
Goodbye,
him.
everyone.
Smell you later.
Alright. I'm off now, I think.
Okay. You could
See you
maybe
next
let
week.
me actually finish recording the episode. That'd be
Huh?
good
I thought
too.
you had.
No,
You said
because
bye,
Zero wouldn't
like
shut
several
up.
times.
Zero.
Oh, well, can I just go now anyways?
If you want to, yeah, you're absolutely bloody
Smell you
welcome.
later.
Fucking Christ, Zero.
Have you finished?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
right.
Bye, everybody.